Okay, so I'm Paul Lewis, I'm an investigator in the York office. I was asked to do a video to show you how you write a song. I do write songs, a lot of songs, some of them are quite good, some of them are rubbish. I play in a band called The Lost Hours with Lowry, who's also an investigator in the York office, but she's not so keen on playing anymore now she's had a baby. Anyway, the first question is, if you want to write a song, do you need to play a musical instrument? Well, no you don't, but it'd be very difficult to do that because the most you could do with writing a song is write the lyrics and then somehow sing them along and hopes another musician can somehow transcribe them. So that's difficult. So it's ideal if you can play an instrument, but you don't have to play it very well. You just need to be able to play a few chords on the guitar or piano just to get the basics across. Now, the first question people ask is, do you need to write the lyrics or do you write the tune first? It's entirely up to you. I tried writing a song when I was a teenager, and I started with the lyrics, and I gave up. I just couldn't write lyrics. I think later on, when I became a much better guitarist, I realised you could actually just start with a tune, start with a riff, and then just work the lyrics into it as you go along. I think a problem a lot of people do when they write lyrics is they write poetry. Sometimes people give me a poem and they say, can you turn this into a song? And the answer is always no, because there's a big difference between poetry and lyrics. Lyrics have a certain metre, da-da-da-da-da-da, to them. They don't, whereas poems can be sprawling, they can go all over the place. So if you read the lyrics of a song, they're very different to that of poetry. I mean, sometimes the very best songwriters like Joni Mitchell or Bob Dylan can appear like poetry. But most of the time, you look at most pop lyrics, it's not poetry. It's deliberately written lyrics to fit into a song. How do you start off writing a song? Well, you have to look at the structure of a song. This very basic structure, which is usually verse, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Sometimes you have a middle eight, which is where you go away from the song and you sing something in slightly different chords and a slightly different tune. And the whole point of a middle eight is to bring you back into the song, to make you think, oh good, I'm back in the song. Some people, especially with early folk songs, they write just lyrics, they just write verses and they don't write choruses. And you can get away with that with early folk music, but it's incredibly boring. There's nothing worse than going to an open mic and somebody's written a new song and there's no chorus, it's just the same verse over and over again. It's just tedious. So you need to write a chorus. And the point of a chorus is usually that's where the hook is, that's where people remember that song, that's the bit they like about the song. So that's the strongest generally bit of the song, is the chorus. So don't forget that. There's nothing wrong with starting with a chorus, like She Loves You by the Beatles. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But it's usually the most important part of the song. If you were starting with the instrument, start with the tune. I usually start with a riff, and that's usually just messing about on the guitar until you get something that sounds quite good. The reality is when you write a song, somebody's already written it. It's almost impossible to write something that's completely original. If you play it, you'll suddenly think, well, that sounds a bit like so-and-so. But usually the more you develop a song with the lyrics as well, it becomes its own song, so don't worry too much about sounding a bit too much like something else. I'm going to take you through a song I wrote. It's not a particularly great song, but it gives you an example of how you write one. If you're going to sing, which you really need to if you're going to show the song off, you need to know your range. Most people think they can't sing, but most people can. It's just that when you sing along to a song, like a pop song, you're trying to sing along to their range, so you'll find at some point you can't sing the high note or you can't sing the low note very well. And if you hear somebody like Paul McCartney who has a very big range, very high, very low range, it's very difficult to sing along. You can get around it by singing the harmony notes on the highest notes or the lowest notes, so that's not a problem. But you need to know your range. So if you get a musical instrument, especially a piano, see what the lowest note you can sing is and see what the highest note you can sing. And as you get better, try and increase the range, so you have a higher range, because the bigger the range, the better, basically. So when I write a song on guitar, it's usually based on chords, and they tend to be poppier on the guitar because it's generally strumming. whereas if you play on piano, pianos give you a lot more range in terms of playing more difficult chords, interesting chords, especially with a bass line. So piano songs tend to be a bit slower for no particular reason. They don't have to be, but in my experience they are. So I'm going to take you through a guitar. On this case, I put the capo on the 7th because if I try singing this particular song in the way I'm playing it, I couldn't sing it, it's too low. And about the 7th is probably about the highest you're going to get. And this particular riff was just 3 chords, which is G, C, and G, D, and C. But if you're a guitarist, the D is the C shape taken up 2, like that. Because it's more interesting than that. So the riff itself just goes. Normally when you go into a chorus, there are some rules about music that are all there to be broken. But if you go to a chorus, if you're in a key of G, the chorus normally starts on the 5th above. So if you're starting like that, when you go to the chorus, you tend to go to the D. So you go up 1 5, but in this particular song I don't do that. I go down to the E minor, which is the main minor chord of G. And I go down to E minor and then I just go up again to G and then up to C. So that's all it is, it's just 2 riffs. So the verse is lots of hammering on and offs. Choruses. So when you're writing the lyrics, generally I just write anything that fits. It doesn't matter how rubbish it is, just write literally anything as long as the meter works with the song. So you get people sometimes when they write you can tell they write the lyrics first, because when they try and fit the lyrics into the song, it feels like they're it's literally trying to force the lyrics into the song, and it just doesn't work for me. People like Bob Dylan can get away with it, but most people, it just feels like maybe you should change the words around just to fit it into the song, fit it into the meter of the song. This particular song is called Baby I'm Lost, which is a rip-off of Chet Baker. There's a documentary about Chet Baker called Baby I'm Lost, and he's a brilliant singer, and he's also a brilliant trumpeter. He was a jazz trumpeter from the 50s, and he's renowned because he was very, very good looking in the 50s and took lots of drugs. By the time he died, he was incredibly ugly because the ravaging effects of drugs. It's a lesson for you all. So it's called Baby I'm Lost. At the first line, there is a reference to stars on the ceiling, and it's only because I remembered those little plastic luminous things you can put on the ceiling, and I just thought I'd try and stick that in. The chorus has the line "Call of the Void," and that's a reference to a French expression. I can't remember how it goes, but it's called the Call of the Void, and it refers to the feeling you have on the top of a building or a mountain or something like that, where you somehow feel the urge to take one step and fall off. It's not a suicidal thing, it's simply that in your mind you have this call, this feeling like, or curiosity of what would happen if you took a step forward. And there's also a line called "The Lanes Are Crossed," which is a reference to an old Woody Allen film when he's travelling back with his suicidal brother-in-law, who says at one point, when they're driving in the dark, have you ever been curious to just drive into the nearest headlights coming towards you? And there's an expression on Woody Allen's face. So that's the references to the line. The rest of the lyrics, I'm not sure they make a lot of sense. I quite like them, but they fit, and that's the most important thing for me. And also I can remember them, which is another important thing. So I'll just end by playing the song, and you can get some ideas. So you remember, musically it's just 2 riffs, and lyrically it's pretty well whatever fits. So this is called Baby I'm Lost. It's as simple as that. Thanks for watching.